Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really digging into the future of a company that, well, pretty much defined modern retail investing for a generation.
Yes, right.
We've got the opening statement from Robinhood CEO Vladimir Tenev right from their Q3 2025 earnings call.
Yeah, and that statement, it's, much more than just the usual update. 10 have really laid out a clear three-part strategic roadmap.
Okay.
And it's all anchored around this idea he kept mentioning, relentless product velocity. If you really want to get where Robinhood sees its future growth, beyond just, commission-free trades.
This is the blueprint.
Exactly. These remarks are the blueprint.
Yep.
Q3 2025 seems like the moment they really started executing hard on these big strategic areas.
Okay, let's unpack that roadmap then. 3 pillars, you said. Interlocking.
That's how he framed it.
So the first one, maybe the most immediate, seems to be doubling down on what they call the active trader engine. And Tenev's goal here, he actually said this, is to build a platform so good that active traders feel like they're at a disadvantage trading anywhere else. I mean, that's quite a claim.
He is bold, yeah.
So what did they actually roll out to try and earn that kind of loyalty?
Well, it's a mix of things. They're addressing some advanced user needs they frankly hadn't before. We saw shorting finally arrive.
Right.
And the ability to have multiple brokerage accounts at once. But what really signals, I think, their push to differentiate is the AI stuff.
Okay. Tell us a bit more about that AI integration. They've got that dedicated AI event coming up in December too, right?
They do. So they introduced these custom indicators powered by something called Robinhood Cortex.
Cortex.
Yeah, think of Cortex as their sort of internal AI brain. It's built to crunch huge amounts of market data and give predictive insights tailored to the specific trader.
So moving into territory usually reserved for high-end institutional tools.
Precisely. But at the same time, they're weaving in community with Robinhood Social, trying to capture that, retail trader energy and idea sharing right inside the platform.
Make it stickier.
Make the whole analysis and discussion process sticky, yeah.
So the idea isn't just another tool, it's more like an intelligent ecosystem. Analysis, community, all integrated.
That seems to be the play.
And judging by the Q3 results Tenev shared, this engine is already, well, firing on all cylinders.
Oh, absolutely. The metrics really back up the strategy here. Q3 had record trading volumes, both equities and options.
Records, okay.
And then just look 1 month ahead to October, it was even stronger. They mentioned setting new records for single day and monthly volumes for both. So the momentum isn't just holding, it's actually building.
Okay, but here's the part of that active trader engine that feels like it could really change the game. Prediction markets. The CEO called this a massive opportunity for the future.
Right, and this is where this story, it pivots a bit. It's not just improving existing trading, it's about potentially creating whole new asset classes.
Wow.
Prediction markets only launched about a year ago. But the growth curve is just, well, stunning. Tenev said the volume has doubled every quarter since they started it.
Doubled every quarter. And if we look at those specific volume numbers you mentioned, Q3 versus October, the scale of that jump is almost hard to process.
It really is kind of staggering.
Yeah.
So Q3, they saw 2.3 billion contracts traded, which is already a huge number.
Right, massive.
But then October alone, 2.5 billion contracts.
Wait, so a single month did more volume than the entire previous quarter combined?
Exactly. That kind of acceleration, it doesn't just suggest people are trying it out. It suggests real market product fit.
People are finding value quickly.
Precisely. And they're not just sticking to sports either. They've rapidly expanded. Over 1,000 live contracts now covering economics, politics, culture, all sorts of things. And this leads to what was, for me, the most provocative thing Tenev said.
Yeah.
His long-term prediction. He suggested prediction markets could become one of the largest asset classes globally.
One of the largest.
Yeah.
Why?
Because, he argued, they allow for the efficient pricing of risk in pretty much anything.
Pricing risk in anything. That's a fundamental shift, isn't it? From just trading stocks to being maybe an infrastructure for pricing risk across society?
It's a huge potential play, yeah.
Okay, so that's the active trader piece. Let's shift gears to the second pillar, the financial super app. This sounds like it's about getting more wallet share, serving that next generation.
Exactly. And this strategy is really grounded in a key demographic point they highlighted, that massive $120 trillion generational wealth transfer. They say it's fully in motion now.
Right, the great wealth transfer.
So they're positioning themselves strategically to capture that stickier long-term money coming into the system. And it seems to be working. Assets on the platform are now, quote, over 13 of $1 trillion.
Over a third of a trillion. Okay, so they need products that keep that money there for, well, decades, not just days or weeks. How are the long-term money products doing?
We're seeing really fast growth in retirement. Assets in retirement accounts are now over $25 billion.
25 billion. And how fast did that grow?
That figure has more than doubled in the past year.
Doubled in a year. Okay.
And Robinhood Strategies, that's their digital advisor. Their robo-advisor basically launched only back in March. It's already pulled in over $1 billion in assets.
$1 billion since March. That's incredibly fast.
Yeah, hitting that billion-dollar mark so quickly makes it one of the, quote, fastest-growing advisory services out there. It shows customers are trusting them pretty quickly with passive, guided investments.
That is a big signal, especially with all the competition in robo-advisors. But a super app needs more than just investing, right? It needs daily finance stuff.
Which brings us to the Gold Card and their banking effort.
Yes, the Gold Card. That was a huge success story highlighted for Q3. They now have over 500,000 cardholders.
500,000 already.
Yep, generating over $8 billion in annualized spending. And the growth rate is the really striking part. A 5-fold increase in cardholders just since the start of the year.
5x. Wow. Yeah, and that kind of validation means they're speeding up the rollout plans.
That 5x growth is critical, isn't it? Credit cards generate all that valuable transaction data, plus they create a daily touch point. It means people aren't just logging in to trade, they're using Robinhood for spending too.
Exactly right. And that stickiness gets reinforced by the early rollout of Robinhood banking.
Okay, what's the hook there?
The key draw seems to be simplicity and earning power. Customers are starting to direct deposit paychecks, and crucially, they're earning interest not just on savings, but on their checking balances too.
Interest on checking, that's still pretty rare.
It is. And the goal seems to be simplifying your whole financial life into one app, letting your money work for you, whether it's for trading or just daily cash. The plan is clearly just scale this up and keep adding more integrated services.
Okay, so that builds a really strong foundation here in the U.S. But the third pillar sounds, well, even more ambitious. Building a global financial ecosystem. They're looking way beyond the U.S. retail market.
This is probably the most fundamental shift Tenev talked about.
Yeah.
He laid out two, frankly, audacious 10-year goals. Goals that really redefine the whole business.
Audacious how?
Okay, first, over half of their total revenue needs to come from outside the U.S.
Half from international. Okay.
Second, over half of their total revenue needs to be non-retail, so institutional business, basically.
Whoa. Given they started as almost entirely U.S. retail, those are...
Yeah, those are massive shifts. That requires a complete change in how they operate, surely.
It really does. It means huge institutional pushes, navigating regulations all over the world.
So what concrete steps did they talk about in Q3 towards actually building that global and institutional side?
Well, the first big piece was Bitstamp. Tenev specifically called it their first scaled institutional business.
Right, the crypto exchange acquisition. How's that going?
The early signs are really encouraging, he said. Volumes are up 60+% quarter over quarter. And that growth, interestingly, happened even while they were still integrating it.
So it's accelerating even during the merger process. It seems so. Bitstamp is basically their door into the global institutional crypto market, a really key step to diversify away from just retail trading revenue.
And what about tokenization? You hear a lot about that. They mentioned something in Europe.
They did. That's another key part of this future asset vision, I think. In the EU, they've started offering stock tokens, representing shares in over 400 public companies.
Stock tokens?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well, it allows for things like fractional ownership, 247 trading, potentially overcoming some limits of traditional markets. They call this just phase one of a bigger innovation plan for Europe. It positions them well in markets where crypto adoption might already be higher too.
Interesting. So they're pushing globally, but it sounds like they haven't forgotten opportunities here in the U.S. either. Something about private assets.
Correct. Robinhood Ventures. That's a major new thing here in the U.S.
Yeah.
The idea is to give regular, non-accredited retail investors exposure to private companies.
Access to pre-IPO type stuff. Usually that's just for the wealthy.
Exactly. Tenev called democratizing that access a huge opportunity.
Right.
He mentioned they've already made some initial investments and plan to actually offer access to the public in the coming months.
So Bitstamp for global institutions, tokens in Europe, private assets in the U.S., it really does paint a picture of building infrastructure for all sorts of non-traditional assets everywhere.
That's the sense you get, yeah. A truly global, multi-asset class vision.
Okay, so we've walked through these three big strategic pushes: making the active trader platform essential, building out the all-encompassing super app, and aiming for this global institutional dominance. The big question then, did all this intense product velocity actually pay off in the Q3 results?
Well, according to Kenneth, yes. It was a very strong quarter overall. He said the product velocity translated directly into great business results.
Like what specifically?
Revenue was up over 100% year over year, hit a record, nearly $1.3 billion.
Wow, doubled revenue year over year.
And maybe more importantly for that super app vision, net deposits were also a record. Over $20 billion came onto the platform in just the quarter.
20 billion in net deposits in Q3 alone. That suggests people are really buying into the longer-term products, not just trading.
It certainly points that way. That deposit number is so strong, he noted. They've already blown past last year's total annual record of $50 billion in net deposits.
Already beat the full prior year, with Q4 still to go.
Yep. The money is flowing in faster than ever.
And what about subscriptions? Gold subscriptions are usually a good sign for the super app model, right?
They are. Gold subs hit a record too, 3.9 million. Now, the overall adoption rate is solid, over 14%. But the really telling number, the one that kind of sells the super app idea, is the conversion rate for new customers who joined just in Q3. Nearly 40% of them signed up for Gold right away.
40%. Wow. So it's becoming part of the core offering for new users, not just an add-on later?
It suggests the bundle the card, the higher interest, the other perks is really resonating from day one.
Okay, so summing up, aggressive execution on three big fronts: locking down active traders with advanced tools and AI, expanding wallet share with retirement, advice, banking, the gold card, this whole super app concept, and laying the serious groundwork for a global institutional business. This wasn't just an incremental quarter, was it? It feels like real foundational change.
I think that's fair to say. Foundational change. And, if we circle back to that really big idea Tina floated.
The prediction markets one.
Yeah. That they could become one of the largest asset classes pricing risk in, quote, pretty much anything. If you take that seriously and you combine it with tokenizing assets in Europe, democratizing private investments here, well, it makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Wonder what?
How fundamentally does the very definition of a financial security change for the next generation?
Sure.
If you can trade the outcome of an election or the price of, cultural trends, just like you trade a stock, what does that mean? What are the challenges, regulatory or otherwise, when non-traditional things start getting priced and traded 24/7?
What other non-traditional assets might they try to tokenize or create markets for next?
Exactly. That's the big implication, the thing maybe for you, the listener, to mull over after hearing about this roadmap.
That's a fascinating thought to end on. The market's definitely changing fast, and Robinhood seems determined to be right at the forefront, pushing those boundaries. Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into Robinhood's Q3 strategic roadmap.